Sister Ghaniy is the Chief Executive Officer, or some better say CEO.
Chairman CEO.
Chairwoman CEO. of House of Ghaniy. She is a Nigerian Chartered Accountant, ACA, and a United States of America Certified Public Accountant. She has 15 years of accounting and financial management experience, working with Big Four public accounting firms, Fortune 500 corporations, and nonprofit organizations across the United States and Africa. She's also the author of What Color Is Your Money? She writes a personal finance column in Aziza magazine and blogs about personal finance at www.ourfinancialcoach.com. So she'll be talking to us here just about how to get out of or stay out of debt in a loan and credit-based environment. So I'll now hand it over to Sister Parker.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, what he didn't say is that I'm from Ijebu. And I always like to start my conversations that way. Yeah, I'm Ijebu. So if you see an Ijebu person like the CPA, they still, but it's still from this program. So I would say it's still easy to, but it's really a pleasure to be here. I was telling somebody that I got involved with YASR and platform in December 2012, and I was practically taken to Minnesota kicking and screaming. Because I said, I don't think I want to get involved with any Nigerian thing. I don't know, it's going to be somehow, it's going to be really weird. But since December 2012, I've been coming, and one of my concerns now is that people might say, how come is this sister again talking about money? But I look forward to these conversations because it's not just a reminder for me, it's also a reminder for all of us as an Ummah. Because when we look at the Muslim Ummah, when it comes to financial issues, we don't exist. And the problem comes when we're trying to raise money in our different masjids and they start saying, okay, who wants to give $10,000? Nobody. Who wants to give 5,000? Nobody. When they get to 2,500, maybe an Arab that is visiting the mosque we raise up, his or her hand, and then the donation will start. When they say, who wants to give $10? Okay, fine. But we need to kind of stop that. And the problem that I'm saying is that in our different homes, in our bedrooms, in our living rooms, we're not addressing the issue of money properly. So if we have to do it and remind ourselves every 6 months, I think, I'm happy to be the one to lead the conversation, inshallah. So I want to thank the brother that's changing the slides for me. Thank you. So, how many people believe that you can live debt-free in America? Okay, now leave your hands up. Leave your hands up if you believe. How many of the hands that are up actually have zero debt? No, including your mortgage. If you have zero debt. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. She's picking up her well. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So, we're going to be talking about the issue of debt today. This is a very sensitive topic. This is a very critical topic, but this is a very personal topic. So I'm not going to be doing like Idris and be asking us to read out things because there are some things that we don't want to say out loud. But I'm hoping that you'll be taking some notes and Idris, stop taking my picture. Taking some notes and stuff like that. So now this is how we're going to start. I want us to take a minute to write down. Please, you must write. I'm an accountant, so nothing is in my head. Everything must be written. What is your ultimate American dream? Whether you're first generation, second generation, whatever. What is your ultimate American dream? What is it that you want to say, I have achieved? in America. And it shouldn't take too long. I also want you to pick from option A to D what inspired that dream and what fuels that dream. You know, you need to pick which one. Pick only one. And you know, since you're not sharing this with me, be very truthful. If something else inspired it and another thing is now full, let's say it started from traditional media, what you used to read in New York Times, but now it's now inspired by the Braxton family values and Tony Braxton and her bankruptcy and all this stuff, then you should go to the most current one. What inspires and fuels your dream right now? Now, number 3, what is your general dream? Let me give you an example of my own general dream. Every time I'm praying about going to Jannah, I always pray that the Prophet will recognize me and introduce me to the Sahaba. That's honestly, when I'm making dua, he'll say, this is Ghaniy. Oh, meet Abu Bakr, meet Umar. You know, that's how I dream about Jannah. So, what's your Jannah dream? What do you think? Do you just want to stroll into some garden somewhere? You can buy a ticket and go to Puerto Rico. So now, if you have these questions answered, we've pretty much gone through the topic of the day. Now, there are things to note. If you don't have an American dream, if you couldn't write anything down, there's a problem. You know, I'm from DC, and we always say that if you're not at the table, you're on the agenda to be eaten, you're on the menu. If you're not dreaming about who you want to be, you are in somebody else's dream. Let me give you an example. If you guys go to Publix, ShopRite, Kroger, whatever, that store, do you notice that sometimes you get in and the soda is by the door? It's not in the soda aisle. It's by the door. And they say 3 cases of Coca-Cola for $1.99. If you've entered that store without a shopping list, without an agenda, you are not at the table. You are in the store manager's dream. He will eat you because the first thing you'll do is to say, because they won't, you know, let me just grab this. Who knows? Somebody else might be coming tomorrow. And the next thing you get to the toilet roll, I'll say, okay, stop brand, 9 for 99 cents. Okay, cooking for Joe. You get that one too. We live our lives this way. We get somewhere and we don't have a plan. So how do you then know if you have deviated from that plan or not? From the moment you got off the plane to come to America, or when you were born here, or when you were brought here, or whatever, you should have had a dream. And that dream should be evolving, and that dream can change. But if you're sitting here and you're at least 18 and you don't have a dream, then we have a problem. Now, if you don't have a gender dream, you better start having one now. And the whole idea of this talk that I'm going to give today is to make sure that your American dream does not conflict with your gender dream.
Well.
And most of us as American Muslims, we think, American dream, to buy a house, to do this, to do that. It cannot be compatible with the gender dream because, you know, you're supposed to live whatever. I always tell Muslims, especially women, where are we getting that from? When there were people like Uthman, with all the millions that he had, people like Abu Bakr, he also had money, Abdurrahman ibn Auf. These were people who were controlling staff, controlling big dough. So what is our own with it has to be like, you know, 1 pant and 2 shirts. No, it doesn't have to be like that. But what needs to happen is that in pursuing an American dream, you must not ignore your gender dream. And you must every day try and see how you can bring these two together. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Next slide. So, they said I should talk about debt. Please, who does not understand your work before I start going off so I can, okay. All right, I'll try and translate.
Oh, boy, you
You know, debt in our language, basically. You know, those who grew up in Nigeria, so you know your neighbor is having issues when You wake up one day and there are people outside the door shouting, hey, 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 go come and pay my money, holding their cloth. In today's, in today's world and in America, nobody is shouting at your door. But what is happening is your heart. He's constantly shouting. You get to the office, they say they want to have a staff meeting and everyone say, Morocco, what if they just lay me up today? The thing that makes you that anxious is what? Is debt. It's basic. So, what is that? What is that? And is it good or is it bad? How many people think debt is good?
Some of it.
I need you to raise up your hand. If you think debt is good.
I don't think debt is good. I think there are
Can
good
there be
reasons
good
to get
debt?
into debt.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't
How many people
good.
think
I think
all
there's good
debt
reasons
is
to get into
bad?
debt, but not that it's good in itself.
No.
All debts are flat.
We're going to answer that question very shortly. But before I go into what is bad debt, what is good debt, I want to talk about something called, interest. Simply put, interest, finance charges, blah, 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 is when you are paying somebody rent for using their money. That's what it is. You've not bought anything from them, you're not staying in their house, but you're paying them rent. Because what? You're using their money. Let's be very clear about the next slide, please. Okay, so debt can be good. For example, many people who are my friends on Facebook here, you know me now. You know me and Delta, we joined at the hip. And this couple is there. Don't judge me. But people who picked me up yesterday know that I complained about sitting in the room on my chair. Now, the thing about me and Delta is this. I fly Delta perhaps almost every other week. They give me biscuit, cookies, which I'm addicted to. But I also have an American Express credit card that is branded by Delta. Now, what that card allows me to do is when I'm going to Nigeria, for example, I get to check 3 bags instead of 2. Most of the time, I get bumped to first class or business class because of my relationship with American Express. Now, that is good debt. Because as I will say, in this other point, if I cannot pay something with cash, I will not charge it. Debt is good as long as you have the cash to pay right now. Right now. Debt is bad. Not the Susie Oman, you know that lady who's on CNBC. She said it's the first month you cannot pay your card. No, I don't agree. I think it's the moment you charge something, you slide the card, and you know you don't have the cash to pay for it. If you don't, you have a debt problem. And that is a debt that is bad. Because you cannot file bankruptcy if you're not owing somebody money. And you cannot pay interest, which we're going to talk about haram or halal very soon, if you don't owe somebody and it's past due. The thing about having a credit card or owing in America is this. It's a very complicated game. And you have to be smart, extremely smart to play. Because at every point in time, the bank has an agenda. You wake up in the morning, they say your credit card limit has been increased. They are thinking, at some point, this person will refuse to pay, or this person will not pay enough, and we'll be able to charge them 22%, 24%, or something other percent. But me, personally, I've had credit card for 12 years since I've been in America, and I've never paid interest. And I have a $23,000 credit card limit. Because before I charge something, trust me, I have the money to pay it. And me and them, we are working on dates. I know that I don't pay that money before the 22nd. Because if I pay before the 22nd, I will not get my Sky Miles for Delta. So on the 23rd, they want me to pay by the 9th, a minimum balance. For 23rd, I pay them the money in full. Because the money was sitting in my account anyway. I just wanted to get my free bag check and free business class. But they are hoping one day you forget. They are hoping one day something comes up. They are hoping someday you charge more than you can afford. And that is why there's an age limit for credit cards, right? Not everybody can go and get one because they expect a certain level of maturity. So once you are paying your debt and you are not charging what you don't have the cash to pay, then you stay out of trouble. But we'll see how that can be very slippery very soon. So, next slide, please. Now let's go to the Islamic side. And I feel very weird about saying this because there are some Afars that are sitting down here. And I don't want to, but let's be very particular. Because you know, when we started this, we said your gender dream should be aligned with the American dream, right? And we all know America, everything is plastic. Everything is there. Then there are people like me who want free biscuit cookies, who want extra bag check, who want to fly business class. So we are, here. But what should we really be looking at to ensure that alignment between our dreams? There are some, we just finished Ramadan, so many people read the Quran, have we? I hope so. Yeah. And not just read the Quran, but try to understand the meaning of the Quran. There are some ayahs of the Quran that particularly scare me. That really scare me. Those ayahs, these are some of them. These are like 4 of those ayahs that really scare me in Surah Al-Baqarah. And when you're looking at what Allah says, and I read Yahya Emerick, he has a very wonderful meaning of the Quran in today's English with commentary. When I'm reading those commentary and I'm reading the stories of what was happening at that time, even I get worried. When I'm looking at ayahs like this, and the Muslims at the time were being told by Allah not to finance the Battle of Uhud, I think, with interest money. Meanwhile, the opposition was financing the battle with interest money. So now, think about it. How much of a difficulty are you in? The Muslims are about to fight a major battle, and now Allah is not putting restrictions on their access to funds for a critical battle. And I want us to bear this in mind when we start thinking about, I cannot go to college without student loan. I cannot buy a car without a car note. I cannot, all these things. I cannot buy a house without a mortgage. Think about it. If the Muslims had something so critical, and Allah is saying, don't finance it with interest money, how about the little problems we have today? Now, and look at some of the things that Allah has said. That in Ayah 275, when he's saying that you stand like as if the evil one has touched you, like as if you're a demented person, a crazy person. Try and imagine that. Try and visualize some of these things. It's pretty scary. Or, and Allah said that some people will say, oh, interest is okay because, it's like trade. After all, I explained, I said, is you're paying rent on somebody's money, Abi? But Allah has clearly stated that, no, interest is not trade. Interest is not trade. You cannot pay somebody rent for using their money. Somebody cannot profit, and you cannot make somebody profit because you're broke. So we need to be very clear about that when we're developing these our dreams. And some of us have made mistakes in the past. Like me, when Leah said to come talk about this issue, I still had a mortgage then. And I said, oh my God, I don't want to talk about, debt when I'm carrying a mortgage. But I made dua to Allah. I was going to Umrah at the time, and I made dua when I was there. I said, Allah, before I come to this place, I don't want to have a mortgage anymore. And when you walk to Allah, He just runs to you and just hugs you. A mortgage of $245,000 on a house that was worth $210,000. So, you have to think about those things that happened in the past and realize that in Islam, Allah is a forgiving person. Yes, when I bought the house 9 years ago, I knew interest was haram. There were some incentives by the builder then that, I was going to use Islamic financing then said. And the builder said, if you use our financing, we'll give you free basement, free garage, free this. All the incentives were like almost $40,000. I said, please do, let me take this one. What happened to those incentives? What happened to the house? Did the value not drop? Once you choose something else in place of Allah, there is no guarantee. Absolutely no guarantee. At that time, did it not look like a good deal? For the past 4 years, when Allah says that once you are dealing with interest, you are at war with Allah and His Messenger. He's not playing. The amount of money I've spent on that house in the past 4 years. Last year, I spent $10,000 in 2 months because I had a tenant who went crazy, ruined the house, did this, did that. You cannot win a war with Allah. You can't. So when people make promises to us here in this dunya, we have to realize that they're just creations of Allah. And they have no way. The people who sold me the house, Ryland Homes, in 2005 and said, free this, free that, 10-year warranty. Where were they when my tenant was messing up? Where were they when I was emptying my savings account to service a loan that wasn't benefiting me? So we have to really think about it. And you know, one of the ayahs that really touched me was in 278, where Allah says that give what remains. Give what remains. You know, when I started getting uncomfortable with interest, maybe it was about, maybe 2 years ago, I said, well, I'm already inside. What can I do? I already have the house. I can't sell it. I cannot do this. I don't want to ruin my credit. Then I was, like I said, I was in Umrah in May, and I was praying so much about this thing, really praying. And like, you know, Allah, you're praying, you're talking to Him. He's also talking back. And then I discovered, and I was reading, give up what remains. And I said, how can I give up what remains? What will I do? My credit score is 810. If I want to do a foreclosure, they will just ding the credit. Hey, Omarogo. But when I came back, I stepped in this US soil and I said, I'm going to give up what remains of interest. And I called a Muslim realtor and I said, I want to short sell my house. He said, if you short sell the house, you have to come up with like $50,000 cash. I said, I'm ready. I just want to be done with this. So he said, I don't think you should do that too. Go and think about it during Ramadan. Then after Ramadan, we'll talk. Because the guy was looking at me like, are you serious? So I was thinking, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do this. So I called Bank of America. And I said, I want to do a short sale. Can I initiate the approval? Da, 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 da. And I think the guy said, you want to do a short sale or a deed in lieu? I'd never heard anything called a deed in lieu before then. All my research over the past 2 years, this thing never came up. I said, what is a deed in lieu? And I think he just went over to say something else. For the next couple days, as I was making dua, I kept thinking, go and research, what's the deed in lieu? Essentially, that is, I give them their keys, they give me my name. So I promptly started the process during Ramadan. And is this not a sign from Allah that when you say you don't want to do something because Allah has said don't do it, that He will create a way for you? When I tell people in Maryland, you know, people who are in my situation that, I'm doing a deed in lieu, everybody's like, what is that? But it's something that is there. Nobody ever advertises. Nobody ever says anything like that. In fact, they told me, they said they will give me $3,000 to relocate me. I said, I don't live in the house anymore. They said, we will still give you $3,000 to relocate you. So, you know, my point for saying this is that Allah doesn't just, He doesn't say, go here and do this and do that, and then doesn't create a way for you to make it happen. Do you think Allah doesn't know that we live in America? He does. So why are we thinking like, well, you know, when the Prophet ﷺ was saying all these kind of things, he didn't know what was up. Well, he knew what was up. And Allah still knows what's up right now. And what's up is that interest is haram. Next slide, please.
Sorry, quick question. No, I'm sorry. No question to ask, please. I'm so sorry. Sister
I
Tokwe.
didn't understand something on the slides. I just wanted you to clarify.
Okay, an exception just from Brother Malik, because he's a very attentive brother. Sister Tokwe, can we go back to that slide? But no other brother, no other, just from Brother Malik alone. Sister Tokwe, please, can you point out the stuff?
So the line where it says, give up what remains of the demand of usury, I'm not too clear on what that means exactly.
So before, the Muslims, people were dealing interest and blah, blah, blah. And there were, people who were owing others and there was interest. And then at the time this ayah was revealed, may Allah forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is the commentary I read. They were saying, collect your capital, but forget the interest portion of it. Yes, collect your capital, but don't ask somebody that, okay, because you already had a compounded amount of XYZ, so go and get it. But when we're looking at ayahs like this in the Quran, we tend to think that it's all about, okay, I don't collect interest from people, so I'm fine, right? That's what we think. But next slide, please. And then we'll see. The Prophet ﷺ is the best example of it.